Coming up next on The Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the founder of a childcare company that takes children on an educational journey. Her journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team. And the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is The Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, when we think about childcare, it's all over the map. Some are just teaching the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. Some are just warehousing kids. And then you meet somebody like Leah Stanley with Noah Childcare. She really takes the children on a journey. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, I want to hear that. First of all, Noah Childcare stands for something, Noah.
Oh, yes, it does. I got the name of my daycare probably about 15 years before I opened. It's Noah, Nannies of America in a Home, childcare.
Okay. How long had you been thinking about your in-home childcare before you actually did it?
Oh, I was thinking about it years. Like I said, I had the name for about 15 years before I even opened up. And it was one lady named Miss Natasha that was doing in-home, and she said, you can do this. And so she helped me on the forefront, and been gone ever since.
And you knew from the beginning that you really wanted to teach more than just the ABCs.
Oh, most definitely, yes. When you're working with children, especially from infants to 5 years old, that's the foundation. That's when they're learning. That's when they're developing. So it's not just about, ABCs. It's about talking to them, eye-to-eye contact, getting them to understand that they're being respected and they're being valued. Once you show a child value and that they're being respected, they will respect you as well as value you. So that is something that's very important. So it's not about just the ABCs, because once you get the morals set in place, then everything else will fall in place.
Well, she told me minutes before the show began that she is the mom of Brandon Powell, who was a guest here a couple of weeks ago, and I got to tell you, you did a great job. He's a very successful entrepreneur, but the way he shows up to the world, just the professionalism. So you did a great job as a mom. I can only imagine what you're doing for your kids.
Oh, yes, but it takes a lot of prayer. Trust me.
Now, how many kids do you have of your own?
My own, I have 5. Brandon is the oldest.
Wow. So you've been in the child care business for a long time.
Yes, a long. It started a long time ago.
Well, when I was preparing for the show, I went on your Facebook page and I found this really nice video. So let's go ahead and roll it now.
Are you in need of safe childcare? I'm Leah Stanley, the owner and operator of Noah's Childcare. Let me show you around. And this is our infant room. This area for our infants is an area for them to relax and feel safe. Everything in this area are focal points for the infant. From crawling to walking, resting and rejuvenating. Whether a child needs to be rocked to sleep, needs to be cleaned or changed, child's individuality is important to us here. And this is our toddler and preschool classroom. Here we have an environment structured, fun during our teaching. It is important that we value and enhance each child's uniqueness, your child. Whether it's doing circle or story time, even with the nursery rhymes, the foundation is being set. Realizing that children learn differently, balance is important in teaching. We allow children to use their imagination and creative skills. Being a part of the Texas Rising Star program speaks of the high quality we bring to your child and have them ready for school. Thank you so much for taking this tour with me. We look forward to you making this your child's home away from home.
And I know you are so passionate about this. It's not just a way to make a living. You are making a profound difference on a child's trajectory, aren't you?
Yes, yes. I think it's very important. The parents that has came to childcare, because I've been open since 2008, August of 2008, and I still connect with those families, with the children, because it's very important. I follow. As a matter of fact, one that started in 2010, she was 2 years old when she started, and now she has came back to work with me. So she works with me right now.
I think that's amazing. There was a very popular book written decades ago called Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, and I think that's very true, is that if you have a good foundation, you're getting them, some of them as infants, if you have a good foundation, they can build a strong house.
Yes, yes. And as well as getting the parents to understand. A lot of times I get a lot of new parents that their first time understanding the baby's crying. Not necessarily, there's certain cries where they're hungry, there's certain cry when they're wet, there's a certain cry when they just want to be held or talked to. So you have to be able to sense that. And then I help parents with that along the way as well.
Wow, you're like a child whisperer. And knowing that every child comes in with a different set of circumstances, you don't know exactly what's going on in their home, you're able to meet each child where they are.
Exactly, because see, in education, we all know that children learn differently. We have visual learners and you have your audio learners, and we allow, because I have a staff that works with me, we allow them to be able to learn the way they learn. You know, we teach accordingly. You know, it's not rough handling and everything. Is just being very nurturing, because that is a part of it. And when you have structure and you nurture, respect, and value, then you don't have the discipline issues.
Well, and I was really impressed with, you take kids on field trips. We got some pictures up of Facebook. And so where were you here? Do you remember this?
That was a Sequest.
That's so cool.
Oh,
and
yes.
think about the enrichment there, just the stuff that they're learning by experiencing it.
They had a ball. Of course, I was a nervous wreck. It was like, don't touch this, because, you know, I'm COVID.
Right. And so how often do you do field trips? Every few months, or how often do you do one?
Well, this particular summer, I took a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I learned very quickly that you do a summer camp once a week, not the whole month. And I did it the whole month of June.
Wow.
And so we went on a field trip 4 weeks. And the last one we ended up doing at the house. So we had a bounce house. It was a swimming. The whole theory, everything, the theme was about water and swimming and everything. So that was my first adventure. So I learned a lot with that one. So upcoming in 2023, it's going to be some good stuff coming.
Well, I have so much respect for anybody in childcare, because I think back on how I was raised, and I'm of the baby boomer generation. And baby boomer generation, you didn't talk back to mom and dad. You didn't sass your teacher. And today's young person may be raising their child different than we were raised.
Yes.
Talk about the importance of teaching, morals and confidence and discipline.
Yes, well, see, the importance, knowing the morals and getting a child to understand the morals, you have to realize that children may get offended easily. And if they shut down, the way they shut down now is totally different. They go into that defensive mechanism and be upset, and so they act out. So when you recognize that they're acting out, then you kind of look for the source and understand that they're not acting out because they want to act out. They're acting out because they're not being understood. Yes. And I believe in balance. If a child is very strong in their personality, and I've had some of those, you bring balance. You want them to maintain their strength. But then I teach them and shape them and mold them as a time and a place for their particular personality to come out and be so strong. and then don't take it away from them, because we need leaders, strong leaders, positive leaders.
Sure. Now, have you been, you've been doing this for a long time. Have you had some children come back as now adults and say, thank you, you really shaped me?
Well, like I said, I have the one now, her name is Larissa, that's working with me. She'll be 16 in January, and she's working with me.
Wow.
Her parents, I had her and her siblings, because it was total of 3 of them. And her parents are always saying how much I made a difference in their life, because she's a part of a STEM program. Very smart young lady, very mannerable and everything. So it's a lot of us out there that are helping children. Sure. I have a friend that is a provider as well, Miss Roslyn, Miss Jolita. They have them come back as adults and in high school and in college and saying thank you. And we see them in the store, or we're shopping somewhere, or may pass by and you hear a horn blow, and it's like, but it's a child that we didn't have, and now they're older in high school or in college.
And you play a critical role in our economy, because there are so many parents these days who really can't go to work if they're home with the kids. And I remember during COVID, there were all kinds of stories about the childcare shortage. What did you experience? Tell us about COVID.
Well, for COVID, I didn't really feel the COVID as a lot of other providers did, and right now some are still closing. And it's really sad, because there are some good providers and they're closing. But when COVID, I just pumped it up. I was always considered a Lysol queen anyway. So the parents were pretty confident, and I thank them for that, being confident and knowing that their child was going to be taken care of. And I did the extra measurements, cleaning, stop so much traffic coming through the home, because the parents used to come in and sign in and do a little fellowshipping. We no longer have that now. They stop at the door. Once they come and tour at my place inside, they see inside. And after that, they sign in out at the door. So a lot of changes happened, but it was really for the better. COVID just kind of introduced and people to understand that us in-home child care providers are important.
Give the audience some advice, because this show airs all over the globe. If somebody does not live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and they're looking for a home with love like yours, what are some questions they need to be asking? What are some things that they need to observe when they come to take a tour for the first time?
I tell a parent real quickly, don't be afraid to ask questions. I always ask the provider questions. And right now with the Texas Rising Star, and I'm a big advocate for it because I became a part of it. Texas Rising Star means that they are doing a step above quality care. If they're already providing quality care, and then you go along with the Texas Rising Star, they enhance. They come in, they monitor. You have a mentor that's going to help you. So parents, please, just ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to be observant and everything whenever you're doing your tour.
And I would add to that, you can often tell, just use your senses, you can tell a happy place from a place where it just doesn't feel right.
Exactly. The whole demeanor in the place, and then the peace. You can feel peace in a home. Yeah. You really can.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for bringing your wisdom and your heart to my show. We're going to end with her Facebook page. I urge you to go to her Facebook page and check out everything about her, all the posts. And Leah Stanley, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.